just to really have a good uptake internationally or locally, and having more possibility to do larger pilots in the bigger, larger environment, that could really help. And I like the idea, what you said about having it in the law, that you have to involve your end users when you do a development. So that really could help to make it really top of mind, to involve end users when you do an innovation.
Yeah, I mean, you were looking at Andrea already, so maybe I can ask Andrea again. So having our colleagues from Northern Denmark with us, and the Ideenfabriken is called, out of the hospital area, trying to work as transfer managers in order to bring good ideas out of that health and care system to the people. Do you have kind of similar institutions, organizations that try to support health organizations in order to be innovative, not just technologically, but also on kind of a process or a social dimension?
Yeah, so I mean, definitely in Scotland there is a commitment to have a really strategic approach towards the open innovation. So we really try to, set up some framework for collaboration. So the government itself supports the creation of innovation centers. We have one specific for personalized medicine, then one around the data, and probably the most relevant for the purpose of today is Digital Health and Care Institute. So that will be also the version of the living lab, the experimental approach. We also have our national ecosystem, which is, again, run and coordinated by the Scottish Government, the Division on Technology-Enabled Care. So it's again just that idea to kind of put a bit of structure into that, active collaboration. And we also see that besides that national ecosystem, you also see a lot of local spin-off ecosystem, which really just underlines that there is commitment and the need for this kind of platform to come together and bring these ideas into existence.
Okay, so to conclude, so what is your wish list? What do you expect from ACSELL, and what would be the perfect outcome of this project? Maybe starting with you again, Tobias.
So my wish list would be that sometimes there's a gap between on the time scale, depending what companies would like to do, and the time scale universities or research institutes do have. They are often driven that it should be quite quickly done. If they have an idea, they like maybe a funding, they like cooperation partners, but if it takes too long, or even the funding, as we heard from Italy, we do also here, it takes 3 or 4 months. If you get the go from the funding, then they say it's not interesting for me. So it must be quite quick. It would be nice with a very unbureaucratic funding. It should be realistic. So I talked on Friday with some companies and asked them, what would you like? And they said, if we know there could be a good outcome, then we would go to such a living labor. If you put us in production line with Fischer Technique or with Lego, I'm not that interested. Although this might be transferred, but they say, no, this must be really, if you have some retrofit sensors on an old machine, and we say, okay, this I can take over for my company, this is really interesting for me. And then I'm quite sure we get good outputs if we have these conditions in the front.
Okay, thank you very much. Other remarks, wish lists, what do you expect from ACSELL?
I think from my perspective would be, really that learning how to basically implement the policy instruments, because I think that, in Scotland we're quite lucky with the fact that we have, legislation and strategies, everything is in place from that level, but the implementation is still a challenge. So we're really hoping that bringing the expertise from other regions will actually help us to accelerate the adoption, of open innovation in practice.
Yeah, I think it's the same for me, creating awareness for the Living Lab approach, and realizing indeed that It may ask some investment, but it also allows, for instance, not only to grow quicker and to do the right things, but also to fail fast. And if you can fail fast, then you win a lot of money, because you do not invest in things that are not reasonable or that are not fit for the market. So I think learning from other partners how they deal with that and creating this awareness are on the wish list.
Thank you.
As we are not part of the project, but probably we will accompany the project as a follower. We hope we push the follower button. But I think, as it's also written in the statutes, more or less, that is an experimental approach. Yeah, so it's at least some things are open from the results. And I would not expect, but I would wish positively the project that a lot of concrete processes in SMEs could be started, not finished, but started over the period of the project, which then will be continued by itself or themselves. And the second one is when you touch the policy level. I mean, this is, we could probably talk in different dimensions because it's also a question of how you view things, from which political perspective you look on it. But at the end of the day, bottom line means that also when we talk about change in companies, change in organization, system change and so on, I think there is also a need for change of this policy realm. That means the thinking of how we manage policy. And I think there could be an input, at least, or what I would expect from the project, an input towards a policy, not necessarily only concrete, which law, which area, but to rethink certain things. Because, for example, very important for innovation processes is the tax system, how you taxize certain things in companies, in investment. This is a very important factor, besides only making a law, but to think about really a systemic approach also on the policy level, and not only that companies do their homework and the rest stays the same. So this would be also an expectation that there is an impulse, a positive impulse, and then people probably can look a little bit beyond their present horizon, and then probably to finish it with the words of Mrs. Evans, to do a little bit more magic.
Okay, let's start the magic, but please, thank you so much, and a big applause to all of you for your input and wise words. And now I think we are more than happy to get ourselves some drinks and I think some snacks and stuff like that. Or Sandra?
The party started.
Okay, the party started. Yeah, let's chat, have food, drinks, and yeah, change the world. Okay, so far so good.